So for graphing a circle, we need to find the center in the equation, which comes from these numbers in your parentheses. And again, remember that the formula, this would be normally a minus h and a minus k, so you need to change the sign of these values for the center. So the x value of the center is -4, and the y value is +2. Always remember, change the sign for those center points. Over here, this value on the right is the radius squared. So to get the radius alone, we're going to square root the 9. And we get 3. It will not always work perfectly. If it doesn't, you may have to estimate when you're graphing. The radius is 3. So we're going to plot the center, which is at -4, +2. And we're going to go up 3, down 3. All right. So up 3, down 3, left 3, and right 3. And make a circle, not a diamond. See, when I'm really freehanding, it's not that great. There we go. So make a circle. I know you don't have magic shaped pens like me, but make a nice circle. And that's it for that problem. There we go. This is the backwards version of what we just did. Instead of being given the equation, we need to make the equation. We have the center and we have the radius, and then up here is the formula for the circles. So remember that when you write your formula, you're going to change the sign on the center, just like we did when we found the center. We're going to change the sign to go back. So we're going to have x minus the x value, which is 4, parentheses squared, plus y minus the y value, which is negative, and this is why it changes sign, squared, equals the radius squared, so 5 squared is 25. And I mean, you could clean up that plus, or you could just box it, but don't leave minus a minus. Make sure you put that, that's going to be plus. And that's it. A second. On this problem, the y value was 0. So when you are writing the equation, you don't need the parentheses, you don't need the minus, just the y squared for that one. So, and if you see this, you need to know that the value for the center, the y value, would be 0. That's really the easier type of problem there. On this problem, we are writing an equation for the circle again, but we are given different things. We have the center right here, which is h and k. Remember that the center is in the formula, it's h and k. And then we have a point that is on the circle. This has an x and a y value. They did not, however, give us a radius. But if you look at the equation, I have an x, an h, a y, a k, and a radius. So if I plug in my x and y and my h and k and simplify, I will have the radius squared on the right side, and then I can go back and write my equation. So this is the easy version of how to work this problem, but it's all about this formula. So we have x, which we're replacing with 2, minus h, which is a -3, parentheses squared, plus y, which is a -5, minus k, which is 4, parentheses squared, equals the radius squared. So now we're just simplifying, minus and minus is adding. 2 and 3 is 5. 5 squared right there. Plus, this will be a -9. And remember that when you square that, you need to be getting a positive value. 5 squared is 25. -9 squared is 81. So that will be 106. And that is the radius squared. But when we're writing an equation, we do actually want to have the radius squared. So we do not need to square root that unless we're having to graph it. Okay? The 106 will be in the formula that we are writing. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to write my equation. Remember that I need to have an x in my equation, and I need to fill in the center. So minus the h, which is -3, squared, plus y minus the k, which is 4, parentheses squared, equals 106 is the radius squared. And then just make this a plus, and you've got your equation.